I got him.
It's really
Yeah.
it's working.
Exactly. Dave, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good, Stroh. How are you,
Good.
buddy?
Good.
Right on.
Yeah, I took my time off, so it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a good trip. So.
Yeah, you won't regret it.
No, I'm sure I won't. That'll be a good break. So.
Canada's a good relationships too.
Yeah. Hey, Michelle.
Now this is odd. You being the last one here. That's usually not you. All right. I think we've got everybody. All right. I'd like to call the April 18th, 2019 City Council meeting to order, and our opening is going to be provided by Councilmember Jake Garn.
Our Father in heaven, we bow our heads in humility before thee this day in gratefulness for our many and wonderful blessings to live in this free land, to have a government of the people and by the people and for the people. Bounties of this earth and of this beautiful place where we live in Kaysville City. We ask that as we go through this meeting, we may be guided and be wise in the decisions that we make and also in our vision for the future of providing for Kaysville essential services to the good people of this community. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. We're going to start off with photo contest winners, and I'm going to come around to the front. Are these in order? No. You didn't have a series order. All right, hold on. It's not like you had one job. You don't. You have several. Okay. That's a winner. Just let me organize. Architecture. Okay. Okay. I'm ready. Okay. Here we go. So we have 3 categories: architecture, environment, and culture and community. And for environment, our honorable mention goes to Canon Gad. Is Canon here? Congratulations. Thank you. All right. And for our environment winner, Hector Lopez. Hector. Oh, there. Thank you. Get this down. Thank you. All right. Okay. Now, for architecture, our honorable mention goes to Dan. Dan here? Okay. And our winner is Canon Gad. Again. Hey. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. Okay. So culture and community, honorable mention goes to Aiden Hansel. Aiden? Any Aiden here today? Okay. But the winner of Culture and Community, Joshua Adams. Thank you so much. All right. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who participated in the photo contest. And it's fun to see. I always look back and say, I want that on my wall. Those are neat pictures. So thank you for everybody who participates. All right. Okay. The next thing we have is a proclamation for Arbor Day. And I will read that. Whereas Kaysville City, Utah has committed considerable time and resources to the urban forest and has chosen to set aside a special day for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day is observed in every state in the Union and throughout the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of topsoil, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide. Whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify the community, and whereas, wherever they are planted, trees are a source of joy and spiritual and mental renewal. Now, therefore, I, Katie Witt, Mayor of Kaysville City, do hereby proclaim April 27th, 2019 as Arbor Day. I also urge all citizens to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands and to support our urban forestry program. Further, I urge all citizens to plant trees, promote the well-being of present and future generations. So hopefully everybody gets to plant a tree this spring. And right. Okay. Now we are going to have a presentation by a few members of our Technical Advisory Committee on Fiber to the Home. I'd like to have Brett Tarbox and Andre Lortz.
Mayor, City Council members, and residents, for the meeting minutes, my name is Brett Tarbox. I'm a resident of Kaysville, Utah Health, and I'm a current member of the Technical Advisory Committee for Fiber to the Premises, Home and Business. I want to thank you for the opportunity to participate on the Technical Advisory Committee. I did not know it at the time, but we were part of something that is special, with a great group of people engaged in a common goal and objective. It is through this level of engagement and collaboration between local government and the community can we accomplish great things. I also want to thank you for this time to provide you a brief update on the fiber internet feasibility study being conducted by the consulting firm Design 9. The Technical Advisory Committee met with the consulting firm Design 9 doing the fiber internet feasibility. We went over some of the initial results of the survey, and the response rate is very good for a mail-in survey. Andrew from Design 9 said usually the survey results for a mail-in survey is usually around 3% being good, and we were close to 10%. Of the residential respondents, more than 80% are interested in gigabit fiber internet and feel the city should help facilitate better internet. So at a first glance, it appears it would be very feasible to do fiber internet in Kaysville. It is just a question of how. To that question, we discussed how, with some of the initial financial models, the city could offer residents in fiber to the home. The two common models discussed are in the subscriber model, only the people who subscribe pay. Less people pay more for the internet, and the financial risk to the city is high. In the utility model, everyone pays something. More people would pay less for internet, and the financial risk to the city is low. It seems like the utility model is the better way to go because everyone wins, but we would need more consensus from the citizens to go that route. Therefore, to pursue the utility model and based on City Council approval, it would most likely need to go to the ballot or a vote of the citizens that comes with its own risk. The telecoms will invest heavily to make sure the vote for fiber to the home fails. And this will most likely involve a ton of, there are also a small percentage of people who would strongly oppose such a model and could become very vocal. And once fiber internet is on the ballot, the city cannot sponsor any campaigns that would mean the push would need to come from us as citizens, a grassroots effort from hundreds and thousands of people. The other option would be the subscriber model. We as residents would pay more for our internet. The city could probably pursue this model with approval from the City Council. The downside is the success of the project would depend entirely on the percentage of people who subscribe, otherwise known as take rate. The higher the take rate, the lower risk, and the greater the risk the project as a whole could suffer, as it has in other cities. So this is where we are right now. We hope to have the final results from Design 9 in the coming weeks, the first part of May. Mayor Witt would like to hold another open house in May where we hope the full report from the consultant will be ready for public consumption. With that, I'd like to turn the time over to Andre Lortz. He was also a resident of Kaysville and CFO for Maverick to go over some of the financial models and details.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brett. Mayor, City Council, and my fellow residents, I also appreciate the opportunity to participate on the Technical Advisory Committee. I will admit that when I was first invited, I believe the city didn't have a role to play in providing fiber optic cabling to homes in Kaysville. However, as we've met with various experts, read articles, and became more familiar and educated on fiber to the home, my opinion has changed, and these facts have made my opinion much different. My goal tonight is to share some of the insights I have gained over the past 7 months on the committee. One misconception I would like to address first is that this project is not to have Kaysville City provide internet service. The fiber project is to have Kaysville facilitate the fiber infrastructure to allow internet service providers, or ISPs, to deliver better internet services to Kaysville fiber optic environment. Many people, myself included last year, believe that free market forces should be allowed to deliver internet services to homes. The problem with this reasoning is that it ignores the fact that by requiring various providers to install separate connections to homes, customers ultimately end up paying multiple times for those installations. This is the primary reason why fiber to the home has not been installed already throughout our city. Companies are not willing to spend the capital without knowing they will get paid for the upfront installation costs. So residents are left with obtaining service from an unregulated monopoly provider who is invested in connectivity to a home, whether this model carries the highest long-term cost to the homeowner and provides the lowest customer service levels. Many homes throughout Kaysville have only one broadband option. Those who do have multiple options find that each option has disappointing limitations. Coming to understand this challenge altered my opinion of why Kaysville City should be involved in this project. Having the city and the homeowners own the fiber network throughout the city allows the city and homeowners to be in complete control over the services provided and can allow for true competition in broadband services to all homes within the city. I am convinced that it is in the best interest of Kaysville homeowners to own the fiber. Allow private companies to oversee providing roads within our city and then charge tolls to use the roads. Many of us would be driving on dirt paths and constantly complaining about the poor infrastructure in our community. There is a place for infrastructure investment through our municipalities to provide better and appropriate services to the residents. I also consider the choice made many years ago in Kaysville to opt to provide electricity to the city instead of having a private entity perform the service. Today, all residents of Kaysville benefit from lower rates than our neighboring communities who are supplied by a private company. I see the same benefit and value from the city's involvement in fiber infrastructure. Throughout the city is reduced to just a few options. As Brett said, a utility model where a fiber network is treated like a utility such as power, water, roads, or sewer. The second model is a private-public partnership or subscriber model where people opt in to share the cost of the infrastructure. The third model is the outsourced model or a private company model. The biggest risk in a utility model is the total cost of the project. The biggest risks in the other two models are total cost as well as take rate, or how many homes sign up for connection. The most difficult obstacle in the utility model is inclusion of all homes and businesses to participate in the infrastructure costs, even though they don't have seen any internet services. We have been living in the free market model in Kaysville for the last 20 years and have witnessed firsthand the slow pace of installation of broadband internet services throughout the city under the private company model. Those with access to adequate broadband services are satisfied, albeit frustrated at the games to keep the price reasonable. Those without access feel abandoned and cheated. The estimates of installing the fiber infrastructure throughout the city currently range from $15 to $30 million. A tighter cost estimate won't be known until a formal engineering study is performed to identify the specifics of the project, such as number of comm boxes, feet. The cost of this project can be broken into three components: the cost for the infrastructure, the cost to operate the infrastructure, and the actual internet service. The infrastructure cost could cost the average homeowner $10 to $20 a month under the utility model and up to $30 a month in other models. The cost to operate and maintain the network could range from $8 to $20 per month. Then each resident has the option to select what internet service level is appropriate for them. This could range from $5 per month for a 25 megabit service up to $30 a month for a gigabit service. This would put a total service. Some have asked about taxes on top of these estimates. Currently, internet services are not taxed. Cellular, telephone, TV, and other services have taxes, but not internet services. What can we learn from other communities who have created truly open, competitive fiber infrastructures? We need only to look to the north to Ammon, Idaho. They embarked on a truly open, competitive fiber network. The cost for internet service for 100 megabit up and down service dropped from $45 a month initially to $10 a month. Gigabit service is now as low as $24 per month. These are excluding the infrastructure and operation costs. This demonstrates the power of a city-owned open fiber network driving real competition. The only thing that differentiates providers at that point becomes their service, not the monopoly of the connectivity to the home. Another concern that I have heard is related to the higher than estimated costs in fiber projects. Many communities have had these projects go bankrupt. These fears are primarily from projects constructed 10 to 15 years ago, such as Provo, Utopia, Google Fiber, and others. While fiber was bleeding edge in 2005, it is now more leading edge with improved installation methods and new processes to reduce installation risk. Even Utopia is now delivering fiber installation that meet or are below initial cost estimates. Kaysville will be able to benefit from all the learnings of the past 15 years of municipal fiber installations. Homeowners are always concerned about how things impact the value of their homes. They don't want higher density next to them if they feel it will impair the value of their larger lot. They don't want certain businesses next to them for the same reason. They object to higher traffic on the roads in front of their homes, as this too may impair the value of their home. While fiber infrastructure currently is not factored into the price of a home, I would suggest that it will play a much bigger role in the future. Having witnessed the dramatic changes in the last 20 years caused by the internet services will only increase, making fiber infrastructure more vital. Consider how valuable a home would be if it had no access to electricity, water, sewer, roads, or how about central air conditioning? Remember, just 30 years ago, most homes in Utah had swamp coolers and not central air. How would it impact the purchase price today if they had had no central air? I believe in 20 years, the homeowners of Kaysville will be grateful that we put in place the infrastructure to have fiber to each home. Another concern raised is that fiber is an old technology and we should wait for the next best thing, such as 5G wireless. The one benefit of 5G, they say, is that it doesn't require any underground installation. Obsolete. The truth is that 5G networks cannot operate without a fiber backbone. Wireless carriers will only be able to deploy 5G networks where they have access to the fiber infrastructure. 5G is a short-range, high-speed communication technology, which means you need more communication towers, and each tower is required to be connected to fiber optics to carry the communication back to the internet. If Kaysville wants to get 5G services sooner rather than later, then installing fiber infrastructure throughout our city will make this more likely. Plus, it could become an additional revenue source to lower the cost of operating the fiber network. Fiber has been the fastest means of data transmission for 50 years and will be the fastest avenue for the next 50 years. What is faster than the speed of light? Fiber has been able to deliver 1 gigabit speeds for decades. Today, it can carry 10 gigabits without much increase in cost, and development has allowed the number of 10 gigabit paths on a single fiber cable to multiply. In fact, fiber is currently able to transmit at over 100 gigabits per second. In fact, in 2014, a research team pushed 43 terabits per second across a single fiber optic strand. That is 43,000 gigabits. That means your 1 terabyte hard drive. 5G is hoping to bring near 1 gigabit speeds and has no current path to 10 gigabit, let alone 100 gigabit. I think it is safe to assume that fiber optic cable will be the fastest backbone for communications for the foreseeable future. In conclusion, having now spent 7+ months learning as much as I can about fiber infrastructure and utilizing my experience in business to analyze and model this project, I feel very comfortable in expressing the recommendation that the city continue to pursue a fiber infrastructure project. I personally believe the utility model presents the lowest risk, lowest cost approach for the project and the best long-term value for the residents of Kaysville. However, the decision of a project, if the community rejects the utility model, then I would fully support a public-private partnership that allows those interested in fiber to participate and those who don't can stay in their current situation. I don't believe it is wise to avoid developing a fiber optic infrastructure in the city of Kaysville. If we do, we will be stuck in the past and find ourselves dealing with more and more frustrations in the future. I look forward to participating in the next open house and discussing what I have learned with my fellow residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andre.
Really appreciate our technical advisory committee members making that presentation, and really distilled everything that we learned over those just a couple of minutes. And it's been a really exciting project that we've been working on, and Michelle Barber, Strodicare, and I have been able to be on that committee as well, and we're looking forward to being able to present the findings of this feasibility study at an open house, some sort of interactive something with our community soon. So we will keep you posted on that. Look at the second, third week of May, hopefully, is when we want to work with our residents. So thank you very much. Okay, now we would like to have Paul Erickson.
Mayor, council, city leaders, residents, thank you for the opportunity to present today. I'd like to go over our 2018 numbers. Hopefully you had time to go over the annual report that we submitted with your package. Cameron McKinnon did a lot of hard work on that, so I'd like to give that shout to him. These are a couple of areas that we'd like to go over: staffing, things you already know, but then some things that we have been working on and have made some changes, so it's been really good. That's our current fire station, how many full-time members, part-time members, and command vehicles, our new heavy rescue vehicle that's coming. We should be going back in June, sometime end of June, to do the final on that, and looking at a delivery of late July, maybe August. So that's really good, actually. Training. After our annual training plan, we put a lot of effort into training. We haven't really done much in the past, but the guys and gals are really working hard. Just this month alone has been great. As you can see, we have quite a bit of classes. Our certification classes have went up for EMS, but it's definitely doing good. I'd like to add the driver operator aerial and pumper class next month that flows into June. We also have command training in September to assist those captains in those learning about initial command statements and setup. We have a UTA drill where we have a simulated crash at Clearfield Station. Really going to go on that. That's on the 28th of April. And we, like I said, a lot of good things. Here's how many inspections. So to date, I pulled it, and we've gone over almost 300 inspections so far this year. That's home inspections, our business, and so forth. We do so many tours. I just put 100 plus because we do quite a few. So it's nice. Next slide. Safety and health, which is a priority for us. We still have our monthly safety health. We just had an agreement with Davis Hospital with a clinic that's going to do our annual physical exams in accordance with the national standard for very, very inexpensive. It's after we get the initial, it's about $140 a firefighter, and then it'll drop down to about $57 a year for each firefighter. I'm a huge supporter of that. I've been a witness of how good it does. It actually has caught a few things. It's saved a couple of firefighters' lives, meaning that they had some heart issues and they actually had surgery from that, getting that annual physical exam. There's a lot of good things there. We go over near miss reports, things that happen throughout the nation. See it better in your report. Coverage and responses. Next slide, please. So there's what we've done since 14. We actually didn't have too good of numbers in 14 and 15. They got better in 16, 17 and 18. Reason you see the two numbers there, that 1578 and 1583, is when dispatch calls it out, fire last year, it was, the garage was fully involved. It started extending the house, but there was a van in the driveway. That's an exposure. So they also add in the exposure. It's on the same report, but it's added into exposure, so it generates two reports in a sense. There's our percentages for EMS and fire responses. Responses to the west side have not changed. So out of that 1578, 1583, 18% are still on that west side. 14% overlap, what that means is we're out on a call and we get another call. That's overlap. And if I'm not mistaken, in that report, it was 200 and something that were overlapped last year in 18. So we still deal with that. We do have automatic aid with Farmington and Layton. We submitted a map to Davis County Dispatch that gives them the line on if we get a call north of this, it's Layton. If we get a call south of this, Farmington's coming. So it is automatic with little delay. We just implemented that a couple months ago. Here's our NFP standard for busted calls. Basically 6 minutes and 6:24 for basically 6 minutes, 6.5. EMS is 6, and fire calls and special operation calls, whether it's an accident on the phone. When you call dispatch, they have a certain time for processing. It gets to us. We have a turnout time, get out of bed if it's at night, get dressed during the day, whatever that case is, and then our travel time from the station or wherever we are to the scene. Next slide. That really is an eye chart. So that's broken down into the zones that I spoke of. Mainly zones 1, 2, 3, and 4 are up in here. 6, 7, 8 over there. Fruit Heights is 9. Then we break it down to the freeways, and then your mutual aid, meaning Layton and Farmington, and then Fruit Heights is 9. I said that. So we're at 64% overall for the year with the national. What that means is for every 10 calls, you need to be on time. That under 604 or under 624, you can only miss 1 out of 10. That's what that means. Next slide, please. This is where we're failing a bit. We've recognized that. We've thrown some ideas down. We've put some measures in place. But really, it's about getting out the door when we get the call. We do get a little complacent, like anybody else. We go to the same place sometimes, and it does wear on you. We're going to that same address, or we're going to the same false alarm. So the guys are really doing well. You'll look on there that our average time for last year for EMS, so we have work to do there, and then 2 minutes 14. So as to date, through this past quarter, EMS is down to 127 and fire's down to 141. So we are working on that, but we do owe you some faster times and getting out the door. Next slide, please. Here's our days of the week, time of day. This really, we don't have any peaks. We don't have the Farmington of, hey, Lagoon's opening up and we have a lot of stuff going on. We really don't. As you can see, we're kind of all over the map as far as days of the week. Friday, Saturday, and then 2018, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So half of our 1578, 1583, half of our calls are on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 6 in the morning till midnight. That's really what, I mean, so we're pretty consistent, really. We really are. So it's kind of nice.
So if we wanted to do a ride-along, choose a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday?
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Yeah, but
Okay.
as you go back one slide, please.
Thank you.
Look at Tuesday, Thursday, and 17th, so I don't know.
Okay.
That's our heat map. You'll see the red there, and that's kind of our frequent flying area is Mutton Hollow, smoke, and put a heat detector in there. So we're still working with it. And they are getting a little bit better, and I know the guys would not think so, but they are, and we're working on it. And still, we're hitting this successful framework. Certifications, all of our folks are certified to the minimum level they need for Kaysville. That's firefighter 1 and 2, advanced EMT, wildland. We just added ACLS, advanced cardiac life support, as a requirement for our folks. We do have some instructors. Pediatric advanced life support, we have to be qualified on that as well. PPE inspections, we do every month, in order the dates are right. There's 10-year expiration dates on all of our stuff, helmets, gloves, boots, pants, top. It's just the nature of the business. This one I'm really proud of. 81%, you may look at 81%, at training completed. But let me give you a little number that I just did in the office before I came over here. So to date, that number went from 81% last year, and we're sitting at 92% this year. So the emphasis on training is high. So I do appreciate the hard work, obviously. Response time benchmarks, as I stated, since 2014. If you look at 2018 data, that eye chart, it was actually 64%.
You're doing an awesome job.
Well,
Thank you.
I sure appreciate it.
Appreciate what you've been able to, and appreciate our firefighters and the hard work that they're putting in to get us in shipshape Bristol fashion.
Well,
So I appreciate that.
I do appreciate it, but really it is the men and women that we have.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. I just get to drive the boat.
All right. Okay. Any conflicts of interest?
No.
No? Okay. For our consent agenda, I want to remove G for a separate vote. Would anybody like to move the consent agenda?
I'll move that we approve consent items A, B, C, D, E, and F.
Second?
Okay. It's been moved by Councilmember DeCare, seconded by Councilmember Garn. Any comments?
Just make a substitute motion that we remove F also.
Okay, all right. Is that all right with the motioner?
Second.
Okay. Okay. So let's go to a vote. Councilmember Adams.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Do we want, Councilmember, motion passes unanimously. Councilmember Adams, F. Do you want to ask?
Mainly just a simple question about, usually we get the bid tabs in our packets. I don't see that. All we have for both of these F and G, the one the mayor removed also, is just the lowest bid.
Okay.
Could we get those bids?
Absolutely.
And how many people bid on the, but I'm curious about both. How many bidders?
If I'm remembering correctly, there
Or
was at
roughly.
least 6 or 7
Okay.
bidders. For F, G, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was probably between 6 and 12.
Awesome. And then one more question. We usually get like a little bit of a scope of the plan, just going forward. Could we get that included in our packets also?
So as far as plan going forward.
And this probably
like
isn't on your
future-
end. You don't prepare the agenda. Maybe this is for the manager. Just like in our packet, if we could get kind of a scope of the project too. Historically, we've had that in target the CEO or CEO.
Yeah, absolutely. We can provide whatever we need to. I'll admit I'm still wet behind the ears, taking over for Andy in this kind of vein. So yeah, absolutely, we can get more information there.
Yeah, bidders and plans, that'd be great.
Yep.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks. Would you like to move F?
Yeah, that's all for F.
Would you like to move that we approve it?
Yep, so I move that we approve F in the consent items.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Adams, seconded by Councilmember DeCare. Any questions? Councilmember Page.
Aye.
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 All right. G, we had a discussion with some residents on Monday. We're going to be providing a little bit more information to residents, and so I would entertain a motion to table this item.
I'll move that we table consent item G, award of bid of Shepherd Lane gutter and sidewalk project.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember DeCare, seconded by Councilmember Barber. Any questions? Okay. Councilmember Garn.
Aye.
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 All right. Motion passes unanimously. To the public. All right, first we would like Richard Proctor.
I just wanted to chat about something that happened this week. It's kind of important. On Tuesday, Ben Carson decided that the HUD people could no longer use computers to analyze and control the cities. It turns out that about 4 years ago, the HUD people started to decide that all of the cities had to be homogeneous in every zone. And they were going to control the zone, and if you didn't do it right, they were going to cut off funds. I mean, it was a serious thing. This week, on Tuesday, Ben Carson said they could no longer use computers. That means that they really can't do it anymore. So the NGOs, which are the guys from the UN that want to make sure that we all do what the UN wants us to do, national, non-government organizations, UN, that are trying to make sure you do what the UN wants you to do, no matter what you think. And they're very upset with Ben Carson. They're taking him to court. They're going to sue him. So they'll go to some activist judge in the 9th District to get him to stop, and he'll say, no, we can't. He can't do that. He can't control his job. So he'll go there, and everybody will say, well, the court says he can't do it. Now, how many unconstitutional things just happened in that scenario? First, the HUD group back a few years ago that violated our private property rights and the city rights. Then Carson tried to do something, and the people came right back at him, treaty which is also unconstitutional because it violates the Constitution. That's another one. Then the guy starts suing, and they go to activist judges who are going to judge in things that are outside of their authority. That's the third one. I mean, this is a horrible event, but it's the common thing because people don't know what this stands for. The Constitution of the United States, quite important because people in general don't know what it is. And the reason is because it's not taught anywhere. This book I just published, it's only a couple of weeks old. This book covers the 1787 Constitution when the guys wrote it. And the goal is, the Constitution says, you guys, we've got a real problem throughout our nation, not just here, but it's got to start somewhere. We've got a real problem with people not understanding what these documents say. They don't have any idea what the rules are for the Supreme Court. They don't have any idea anymore what the Congress can do. And these things need to be brought to people's attention. You know, in 1996, the Supreme Court took away the 10th Amendment rights from our state and all the other 49. Oh yeah, they just said, if you get any money from the federal government, you have no 10th Amendment rights.
Thank you
Guys,
very much.
You got to do something here.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Dean Wall.
Yeah, my name's Dean Wall. I usually, if I'm not dealing with my son, who's very sick, but I'm usually to most of these meetings. That's why I've missed the last couple is because of him, but
Or a jazz game.
what's that?
Or a jazz game.
Yeah, or a jazz game, yeah. You got a point there. But no, I mean, I want to tell you guys how great of a job you do. I mean, I don't agree with everything that you say or everything that you want to do, but other than that, I think you guys do a great job in Kaysville City, and I'm proud of what we're pushing forward to do. So, thanks.
Thank you.
That includes
Thank you.
everybody.
All right.
Thanks, Dean.
Okay. Councilmember reports. Let's go with, how about community development? Anything?
I will next time.
Okay, sounds great.
Got a lot. Thanks.
Public Works?
Well, I'll just say kudos to Mayor Witt and Councilmember Adams and Barber for meeting with Shepherd Lane residents recently along and understand what the people living on that street would like, and hopefully we can accommodate some of those things. And also just again, it won't be too long before all the orange cones start coming out, so
Yes.
Enjoy.
patience.
So great.
Yeah.
It'll be better in the end.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And just to remind everybody, we're investing $3.5 million in streets this year. So you're going to be cursing us all summer long, I'm sure.
And then praising us when they're so nice.
Absolutely. How about Parks and Rec?
We have our Easter egg hunt this Saturday, 9 o'clock, Barnes Park. And don't be late, or you'll miss it. Our new mayor and council soon for Youth City Council, so I'll be watching for that.
Great. And how about Power? Anything?
Nothing to report with Power. Our next scheduled meeting will be on May the 7th. We'll be taking a tour of a couple of substations and the operations department over there. So I think it'll be good for especially the new Power commissioners to kind of get a boots on the ground feel, and it's kind of a field trip kind of thing and see what they're doing. So
Okay.
yeah, looking forward to that. So also one thing I want to add too, April 20th, Saturday, right after the egg, I will be here at 10 o'clock here at City Hall. So
Thank you. I want to do just a brief update on what's going on with our remodel. Plans are progressing. We will be looking at parameters on a bond for that on May 2nd, and I think potential approval on the 16th, correct?
I think the adoption was planned on the May 2nd, and we talk about it tomorrow at our budget retreat.
Correct, okay. And then I want to thank all the council members who are going to invest time in towns training next week, and appreciate you investing in your skills set. And also, we are going to be opening up applications for Planning Commission starting on May 1st. So if you are interested in serving on Planning Commission, please, you can go to the website and download an application there, or you can come in and pick up an application from Community Development.
As well as Historic Preservation Committee.
And we are
Same
also
time.
starting a new committee, Historic Preservation, on the 1st of May, and running for a couple of weeks. Is it 3 weeks, Shane?
I think it's 3.
I think it's 3 weeks. All right.
Are those planning commission, are they vacancies or just term expirations?
Anybody who is on Planning Commission right now who wants to reapply, who wants to serve again, needs to reapply. I think there's
their
a
term-
limit. There's a limit of 3 terms, and I believe one of the planning commissioners cannot reapply.
That's not correct.
It is not correct. There is no limit. Okay.
He just doesn't want to do it again.
Oh, I will. I
So
will
there's no
let him know.
vacancies, nobody's.
Nobody's
They're all
saying that
just
they.
term-
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's the terms.
3 terms expiring.
I want to set the standard that if somebody wants to continue to serve, they need to reapply. So just like we did last year and with the Power Commission. So that is going to be the standard. If you want to serve again, you need to reapply. All right.
One quick question about the budget retreat.
Yes.
We used to hold it here underneath the camera, and it was a little bit more inviting for citizenry. You know, now, you know, a lot of our extracurricular meetings, I'll call them, we've held off-site. So there's a little bit of a concern as to why and what's the reason for not holding them here in City Hall. People feel welcome to come here. It's their, you know, historically, the camera would be rolling in these meetings we would have, and now they're not. So is there some reasoning for all the off-site, all the meetings that we're having?
You know, we follow state statute. These are open meetings. Anybody is welcome to attend. We record them just as is mandated. I think it's good to get us out of the same place so that we can think differently. I think if you are in the same places every single time, you fall into the same roles instead of maybe thinking outside the box a little bit. So that's my reasoning for,
If people
yes.
want to come in that building?
Yep. So the budget retreat is going to be at the new cemetery house, and if you would like to come and observe, you are more than welcome to come. All right, starts at 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning. Okay? All right. City manager report.
Nothing tonight, Mayor, thank you.
Okay. All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.